Idapo Okunu Enko. The Permanent Secretary, Aviation and Aerospace Development, Dr. Ibrahim Abubakar Kana, MNR. The Permanent Secretary of Education, Dr. Nasir Sani Gwazo, MNR. Senior Special Assistants to the President here this morning, Federal Directors under the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Aviation, as well as the Federal Ministry of Education, Director Generals, Chief Executive Officers, and Managing Directors of agencies and parastatals under the ministries here this morning, editors, bureau chiefs, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It's my singular honor and privilege to welcome you all to the 4th edition of the Ministerial Press Briefing Series holding here today. You may wish to recall that so far in the Ministerial Press Briefing Series, we've been graced with the presence of the Ministers of Regional Development, as well as the Minister of Development, and just recently, the Honorable Minister and Minister of State in the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. This morning, very distinguished guests, it's my pleasure to announce that we have 2 ministries who are doing exceedingly well by their track records. That of, I'm talking of no other than the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, as well as the Ministry of Education. Without further ado, permit me at this time to invite to the podium the Honorable Minister of Information and the host of the Ministerial Press Briefing Series, Mohammed Idris, Fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. So please lift the curtain on today's proceedings. Please put your hands together for us.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, the Honorable Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Communication, Mr. Sonja Dali, Permanent Secretaries of the Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Ministry of Education. Heads of agencies here present, agencies of Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Information, Media and Special Duties, Mr. Tunde Rahman, Special Assistant to the President, Senior Special Assistant to the President, Mr. Tope Ajayi, and other very senior government functionaries here, my colleagues, the reporters here. I am the chief reporter of the government of Nigeria. Let me welcome you once again to this Ministerial Press Briefing. It is my pleasure to welcome the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, the Honorable Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, SAN, Permanent Secretaries, and all government functionaries here. Today presents a valuable occasion for the Honorable Ministers to update Nigerians on the progress and key achievements recorded under their stewardship. This session is an interactive platform leveraging multimedia channels to promote transparency and direct engagement, offering first-hand insights into the policies, initiatives, and reforms shaping the ministry's objectives. Since the launch of the 2025 Ministerial Press Briefing Series, 5 honorable ministers have taken the stage to present their scorecards to Nigerians. As I have previously emphasized, each minister will, God willing, have this platform to engage directly with the media. This initiative, spearheaded by the Prime Minister of Information and National Orientation, underscores government's commitment to transparency and accountability. It serves as a platform to keep Nigerians informed about ongoing policies and programs of the Tinubu administration to ensure that citizens remain actively engaged in the nation's governance process. We sincerely appreciate the media for their unwavering dedication in covering the ministerial press briefing session. Their effort in keeping Nigerians informed programs and achievements are truly commendable. As a cornerstone of our democracy, the media continues to play a crucial role in fostering an informed and engaged citizenry. Our country stands at a critical juncture as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu implements bold and transformative reforms to lay the foundation for a new Nigeria. Across the world, history has shown that all meaningful reforms are never easy. They demand sacrifice, resilience, and commitment to long-term progress. The initial pains that often accompany these changes are the necessary price we all have to pay for a more stable and prosperous future. I want to sincerely appreciate Nigerians for their patience, perseverance, and unwavering belief in the President's vision. These reforms are not just well-intentioned, they are essential for the growth and development of our nation. Let me say that we have crossed the Rubicon, and the pains are gradually easing as the positive impact of these reforms are beginning to manifest. Already, we are witnessing a marked reduction in food prices, stability in the exchange rates, and a gradual decline in the cost of petroleum products, which are clear indicators that the reforms are indeed yielding positive results. As we continue on this journey, I am appealing to our religious leaders to use this period of the Ramadan and Lent to offer prayers for the peace, security, and progress of our dear nation. Only last week, at the annual Ramadan lecture organized by the Nigerian Television Authority, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, and the Voice of Nigeria, I emphasized the vital connection between faith, policies, and governance. A nation thrives when its leaders govern with a sense of divine responsibility. And I assure you that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu leads with the utmost fear of God, guided by the conviction that history will judge his administration favorably. I want to urge all our Muslim and Christian leaders, particularly during this period of Ramadan and the Lent, to continue to pray for Nigeria's success. With unity, faith, and collective effort, we will emerge stronger, more resilient, and positioned for lasting prosperity. Now, let me say that the ground rule for this engagement is that each of the ministers will have a maximum of 30 minutes to speak to you. And then the second minister will also have a maximum of 30 minutes, after which there will be another full hour of interactive engagement with members of the media. It is now my singular honor to invite the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, to go first. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister of Information, Mr. Mohammed Idris, for giving us, as the Minister of Education, these opportunities to talk to Nigeria. Let me also recognize the presence of the Minister of Aviation, Mr. Festus Kayamo, the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Nonogar, Special Advisor to the President on Media, Mr. Sunday Dare, the two permanent secretaries that are present here today, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Education and Aviation, all head of agencies that are present here today, directors present here, and other senior government officials, and more importantly, members of the fourth realm of our government, the press. Thank you for inviting us and for this big opportunity to talk to Nigeria. The mandate that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given us to totally reform the education system in Nigeria. The several challenges that we met. Can I have projection of the slides? But some of the numbers, projection of good. So I'll talk about the challenges, talk about the strategies we've put in place, and a target, and the gains we've made quickly in the last several months and in the last almost 2 years that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has took over the leadership of the country. We all know our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a fervent believer and benevolent believer in human capital development. And when you talk about human capital development, what are you talking about? Education, health, and social protection. When the president was campaigning all over the country, he said, I would take difficult, he spoke to Nigerians directly and told them, I'll be honest with you. I'll take difficult decisions. But those decisions that I will take, it's not for now, but for prosperity, for the future of your children and the future of your grandchildren. And when you have a leader making decisions like that, based on the future of your children and your grandchildren, you can be 100% assured that those are right decisions. And when you take right decisions, it will be difficult decisions. That's what this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done, and now we're all seeing the results of those difficult decisions. The light at the end of the tunnel, we're seeing it clearly, and I can assure you the tunnel is now getting shorter and shorter. We're getting to El Dorado. And you saw you heard the Minister of Information just reeled out some of the gains that we're seeing. But these are real gains, not superficialities, not band-aid. But these are gains based on real fundamentals of our economy. Now, I'll talk about education. The several challenges that we've met, but some of these numbers are now better. We have about 60 million Nigerians between the ages of 5 and 14 years old. Of these 60 million Nigerians, 45 million of them are learning poor. What do I mean by learning poor? That means a child that belongs to these 45 million, within the category of these 45 million people, cannot read age-appropriate tests at the age of 10. We have one of the highest burden of children that are learning poor in the country. And we also have an unviable record of having the second highest number of children that are out of school in the world. We need to know our problems so that we can put strategies in place to clearly and meticulously address these problems. Of these 15 million people that are out of school, 50% of them have never been enrolled in school. 25% of them are dropout, and 25% of them belongs to the Amajiri category. And there's argument back and forth if the Amajiris are really out of school, because they go to school, but they're just not getting Western education. But we have clear strategy on how to take numeracy, literacy, and vocational skills to these Nigerians. Also, looking at a girl child, the female population, we have 20 million adolescent girls today in Nigeria between the ages of 12 and 19. And 6 million of those young Nigerians are out of school. And with a fertility rate of about 103 births per 1,000, we have our population is projected to rise in the next 25 years to 400 million. We have to sprint. Today, we have clear strategies on how to do this, to address all these challenges that have laid before Nigerians. We've come up with clear agenda under our Nigerian Education Sector Renewal Initiative with clear strategic goals, which is moving a nation from a resource-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. We have that capacity. Nigeria has a unique demography in the world, very unique. Good demography that we need to tap. We have a population of 220 million people. Of these 220 million people, 70% of that population, they're below the ages of 30 years. But vibrant, youthful population, dynamic population, eager to learn, eager to work, making changes, both in Nigeria, globally. So what do we need to do as a government is to equip them with the skills that they need. And that's what we're doing exactly at the Ministry of Education, to move our country from a resource-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. Clear strategic goal to reduce the number of out-of-school children, reduce learning poverty, increase skills and human capital development. And we have a clear 3 pillars on how we're going to do this and how we're doing this. Equitable access to basic education that include increased level of literacy, numeracy, and critical thinking with skills. Reducing the burden of our out-of-school children and integrating these kids into formal education, giving them formal education, and beyond formal education, giving them life skills for them to be able to be useful to themselves, to the community they live, to the country and the world at large. The second pillar, increase quality of education and learning outcomes. I'll go into each of our strategies under each pillars. And the third pillar, strengthen governance and management in our education system. With these clear 3 pillars, we have 3 cross-cutting enablers: data and digitalization. We need data. Without data, you can't really plan. We need data to plan, intervene, and monitor outcomes. We've laid out a clear, robust data and digitalization agenda for our education system. I've inaugurated the Nigerian Education Data Infrastructure Platform. We're working closely with the Ministry of Communication, Digital Economy, as well as NIDA. We have a clear agenda on how we will roll all our education data from the foundational level into one data, going to our secondary school level as well as a tertiary school level. We've also started intense collaboration with our subnational government. We've met with the Nigerian Governors Forum, and we also have a series of meetings that are planned ahead. We've worked to rejuvenate the Commissioner of Education, the State Commissioner of Education Forum. We've met several times. We're queuing them in our agenda as we move along. Also, we're also working, developing renewed partnership with the private sector so that we can all coordinate together, plan together, so that we can all be our interventions will be more impactful. Next slide. So, with all that has been said, we've laid out 6 high priority intervention areas. TVET, technical vocational education, is the bedrock of what we're doing. We have an expansive agenda to move hundreds of thousands of young Nigerians, to give them the life skills that they need. And when we talk about technical and vocational education and training now, it's totally different. It's real technical and vocational training. We're adopting the Pareto rule, 20% didactic and 80% practical trainings. When I say Pareto rule, what is success? Pareto is what is success? 80% policy, and 20% policy and 80% implementation. And that's how we can be successful with this expansive TVET agenda. We have clear 4 steps on how we intend to do this. Step 1, we would incentivize our young citizens, Nigeria, to go to seek technical and vocational skills. We will pay them monthly stipend, pay them accommodation to get to where they're going to get the skills. Step 2, the schools that we've identified, 3 clear areas of training. Number 1, the skilled training centers, the vocational enterprise institutes, and our state and federal technical colleges will be the 3 major areas where we will be training these children. We will pay these schools decent tuition fee for each student they train. We want to start a new value chain in a technical and vocational education system. As we pay these schools decent tuition, they'll have more funds to invest in building infrastructures, building workshops, and hiring teachers. It's step 3 of what we're doing. I told you we're focusing on practical training. We've identified the mastercraft persons, the large industries, the medium-sized industries, and the artisans. We will pay these industries, these artisans, per child, per citizen that they train. We will use the dual modality. When these kids enroll in school, dual mode of training, when they enroll in school, they will spend 3 days with the skill centers at the Mastercraft Person Centers. Spend 1 day for their didactic lectures and spend 1 day in their workshop in their school. We've put plans together. We've mapped all these industries to where these skill training centers are, where the vocational enterprise institutes are, and where federal and state technical colleges are. As we do that as well, as we do this training, we've done labor gap analysis. We're not just going to be training people based just arbitrarily. We have clear ideas of the labor gap needs of each state, each geopolitical zone. So we'll be doing targeted training. And one other big thing that we've done, we've reduced the number of trades from like 96 to about 26, with clear targets of what we need today. We've added new trades like
CNG conversion and maintenance, solar panel maintenance and assembling. We've also put electric. We're using more of electric vehicles, electric tricycles, electric motorbikes. We've added trades like that. And also, as part of our food security, we're putting a lot of emphasis on training in mechanized farming and livestock production. So, step 4, I've told you 3 steps. Step 1, we will incentivize our citizens to seek this technical and vocational education. We will build a new business ecosystem in our vocational schools. And step 3, we will train them very well in those skills at these mastercraft places. Step 4, as these kids are graduating, we've also put together entrepreneurial grant for the ones that want to start their business opportunity. And all these things that I've said cost money, but I can assure you today that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in his fervent belief in human capital development, has given us substantial budget to move this agenda forward. Do we have enough of money that we need? No, but we have a substantial amount of money, of almost 120 billion naira that the President has approved for us to move this agenda forward. This TVET program will be launched probably the month of May, at the latest, the first half of June of this year. I've spoken about TVET. We also are putting a lot of renewed emphasis on STEM with 2 M's. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medical sciences. Today, our universities are training a lot of our children with no life skills. So we're refocusing our education at tertiary school to focus on areas of needs. Today, we don't have enough nurses in the country. Even if we train 2 million nurses today in the country, there's enough market for them. Let's use our population to saturate these areas of needs. Even if we don't get job here, they'll get job abroad. Those citizens will go abroad, they'll send money to their family. That's a huge direct source of foreign direct investment to the country, giving us well-needed forex. So we're focusing heavily on that. And as we have a lot of these young kids outside that have been trained in courses that they can't get a job, we have a clear plan on how to retrofit their skills, to give them new skills. As part of our TVET agenda as well, that we've embedded in our tertiary, people that graduated from our tertiary schools, institutions, all the final year students, we've developed what we call DTA, Digital Training Academy, to train these kids with skills, give them with skills that they need, that they can service industries. Here in Nigeria or anywhere in the world, they will stay in Nigeria and make decent living. Today, based on UNESCO data, there are about 658,000 vacancies in software development methodologies, about 280,000 vacancies in proactive security that we call cyber security. There are about 168,000 vacancies in IT automation, another 150,000 vacancies in AI and machine learning, about 120,000 vacancies in cloud computing, about 68,000 vacancies worldwide in natural language processing. If you add that together, we have almost 2 million job vacancies out there. So what we're doing with that Digital Training Academy, we're working with trainers now that will offer 6 months to people, young Nigerians, to get this training. We as a government, we will pay for their internet services, we will encourage them, we would find or pay for computer for them or contract with CBT centers. These citizens will be trained 6 months. We will pay for their certification, Cisco certification, AWS certification, UWE certification, Google certification. Once they get this international certification, they can sit here in Nigeria, apply for jobs anywhere in the world, service a company in Singapore, London, Germany, India, and China, and they will get very decent pay. $3,000, $4,000 a month. That's not bad pay. So that's a strategy that we want to use to move a lot of our young kids, to give them these digital skills that they need to service the world. That will be launched also on or before June of this year. We have clear plans to address our out-of-school children. We're going to do conditional cash transfer. We're working with the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry on how we're going to do this. We're trying to plan the process on how this will be done. We've gotten the NIPSI to join us as well, so that we can now have a register that is clean, and as these funds go to these parents, we know where exactly we're paying the right people. So we have a clear plan to address on our out-of-school children. We also have launched a Lumina program for a girl child education. That was launched just last week. That part of our strategy is being led by our Honorable Minister of State for Education. So we have clear strategy on how to increase the number to reduce the burden of girl child that are out of school. Now, I spoke to you about data and digitalization. We have clear plans. We've met severally with what-known consultants. We're going to use exactly what India has used. India has a robust digital platform that they call India. We've met with the developers of those platforms. We're going to engage them. We'll work to engage them to build that customized digital platform for us, where we begin to take clear foundational education data from JAM, from all our universities, all our polytechnics, NECO data, JAM data, everything will be housed in one platform that we call Nigeria Education Data Infrastructure. And we're building this for sustainability. We have clear funding that we'll continue to use to maintain this data platform. Of course, we're focusing heavily on education quality and assurance. We now have a renewed strategies to quality assure the kind of education we're giving our children. And as we give them this education, we also have to quality assure the teachers that are training our children, so that as we do this, the high level of learning poverty that we have will significantly reduce. Next slide, please. So, what are the performances, the performance target? I spoke heavily on the TVET. We have planned to enroll between now and 2027 to give 650,000. That's actually conservative estimate. Nigerians, new digital, technical, vocational skills, as well as digital skills that they would use to start working and start making incomes. With our STEM, we'll have clear strategy on how we're going to quadruple the number of admissions into a medical school, focusing heavily on medicine, pharmacy, nursing, and dentistry. What we've done now, beyond the usual budgetary allocation to medical schools, Third Fund has been directed that all the high impact intervention spending for this 2025 will be directed to 18 identified medical schools that we've carefully chosen in each of the 6 geopolitical zones. The funding will go to improving student classes, improving infrastructures in their lecture auditoriums, in their lab, and also building hostels. As we do this, we will have clear strategy to expand the capacity of our medical schools. And as we expand the capacity of these medical schools, a major rate limiting step is that they don't have accommodation. Third Fund will also be building accommodation for them in the identified medical school. We're also building simulation labs. We'll be building world-class simulation labs in 6 medical schools across the country. As we build this simulation lab, we can geometrically expand the number of students that we're admitting to our medical schools. With regard to nursing, we would exceed our quadrupling of admission in the next 2 years. We're engaging our National Board for Technical Education, setting up a lot of monotechnics across the country, focusing on nursing and community health. With regards to our out-of-school children, we have target of moving 10 million citizen Nigerians from the street to school. We have clear strategy on how we're going to do that. Today, we're lucky we now have an agency, National Commission for Emergencies and After-School Commission. That's been the law was clearly designed, not just to make policy, but also to operate. So we're moving more resources to this agency. And also we're collaborating more with our other agencies that are the agencies that have anything to do with out of school. We now have a ministerial committee that is set up as me as the chairman, Honorable Minister of State as the vice chairman, and with the ES of UBEC, ES of Managerial Commission, ES of Nomadic Education, and ES of Nigeria, NMEC, so that we're meeting and we're actively looking at our interventions and seeing where our results are going, what we need to change and what we need to intervene. I thought I was given 30 minutes. I don't think I've used up to that. But then, so next slide, please. Next slide. So, with regard to our girls' child education, we have planned to educate additional 1 million girl child in the country. I've spoken about data and digitalization. I've spoken about quality assurance. Now, in the last 18 to 24 months, what have you achieved? Our achievements are there. Let me see the next slide. We have a TEL fund program, a student loan program is working well. Please, the members of press, please tell students it's easy. It takes less than 1 minute to start the application. It's online. Today, we have we've invested 43 billion in a loan program. Real beneficiary of these student loan programs. We've embarked on aggressive institutional reform for UBEC. There's a big part of UBEC, this matching grant, this 50% matching grant, that is preventing a lot of us subnational government from accessing this grant. We're working to reform and to make changes to that act so that we can free up this investment for our subnational government so that they can direct more funding in coordination with them to a foundational level. You've heard about the 18-year minimum age policy for education that we reversed. For the first time, we now have an anti-bullying policy in our education system and for the country. We have the HOPE education, the Human Opportunities for Prosperity and Equity, a World Bank loan that we're moving quickly to get approved. It will be approved. It's going to the World Bank Council by the end of this month, and once that gets approved, we'll move it to a Federal Executive Council, and then we can begin to direct this funding to our foundational education level. And the way the HOPE loan has been designed It's been designed as a pay for performance. It will be directed at the sub-national government, but it will be based on indicators, clearly marked out quality indicators, delivery-linked indicators. We're engaging our citizens more. Also, the National Library that has been abandoned for the last 2 decades. Mr. President has given marching order for us to resume, to start the construction of the library. Not just orders, the President has also given some money, about 40 billion, for us to resume construction of the library. And we also we're working with the National Sport Commission in a renewed sport. Sport is part of education. For the first time now, we're collaborating with the National Sport Council with a Nuga game, Naisiga game, and Nipoka game. We're collaborating together more intensively. We have a heavy focus in using education to improve our food security. We've earmarked some money today in this 2025 budget to be directed to our University of Agriculture and universities that have big faculty of agriculture. We'll be giving them about 1 billion for them to go into mechanized farming. Also, with student mobility, Mr. President has kindly approved the purchase of electric vehicles, electric buses for some of our universities. These buses will be handed over to the student union, to the respective student unions of these universities, so that they can operate and use it to transport students within their campuses. With regards to our foundational level, foundational education, we have clear strategy on how we're getting this right now. And I'll tell you our board agenda. Next slide, please. Board agenda with our foundational education. With regards to infrastructures, between now and 2027, we will renovate 195,000 classrooms across the nation. We will install 28,000 toilets, 23,000 boreholes across all our schools in the country. We will construct about 7,000 new classrooms, and as we do this, with our learning and teaching and learning materials, we plan to mobilize almost 103 million textbooks. And let me tell you, we're also going to move away from this paper textbook. We will work as we go into the future to ensure that every student in Nigeria has a tablet, where we can now begin to move content, educational content, into these tablets. This is how we can become effective. We're talking with some AI companies that will also give us some AI platform that, as the teacher is teaching the children in school, the AI platform will summarize the salient point of what's being taught. Also, direct them to where they can get additional learning materials. This AI platform would also assist our teachers in developing their teaching plans. So these will be embedded in those tablets. And we also plan to deploy almost 2 million in teaching aids, 2 million supplies of teaching aids to our schools, as well as train and retrain about 1 million teachers within the next 2 years. I think I'll stop I think I've exceeded my time. I'll stop from here. Thank you so much.
I believe we can make the applause a bit louder for the Honorable Minister. Thank you very much. Without wasting any much time, we'll take the next presentation, after which we'll take the question and answer session. Permit me at this time to invite to the podium the Honorable Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, SAN. Please put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much. My brother, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has eaten into my time. So let me try and engage in some time management here. Before we started, I was to go first. He then appealed that he should go first because education is more important than aviation. So I told my... You are clapping. I told my permanent secretary to immediately put him on a no-fly list. Let us see how he will fly from one school to the other. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and please permit me to adopt the protocols that were established earlier today because I want to manage my time. Now, the first question I asked when we wanted to do this series was that, do we repeat all that we had achieved? And we said last year, I think we were here last year, June or July, or do we continue from where we stopped? And I said, well, let me continue from where we stopped so that we won't be repeating ourselves. At that time, when we were here last time, we said so many things were in the pipeline, if you remember. And the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a government that does not keep things in the pipeline for too long. Those things that were in the pipeline last year, they have become fully blown now, full-blown achievements. And so we will no longer be talking of so many pipelines here today. Those are full-blown achievements. So we will start, if you look at our presentation, the first 10 or so pages, we'll skip them, because those are the things we had said last year we had achieved. So we don't want to just use those ones as achievements now to cover up on our achievements. No. We have achieved so much more after then, and we are going to start talking about those full-blown achievements. So you will skip some of those pages. We have talked about all of this. Let me start from sometime in July last year. At that time, we said we are at the cusp of achieving a couple of things, and let me start talking, reeling out those things we had achieved. Through the diplomatic efforts led by the president himself, we had mended our relationship with the UAE. I'm sure you all know, it's not secret, it's open secret, that our relationship with the UAE was very bad, very damaged at the time this government came into office. And one of the effects of that damaged relationship was the suspension of flights, the Emirates flights between both countries. We are at the cusp of bringing them back at that time in July. So we are happy to report that we continued those diplomatic shuttles. We entered into a new BASA agreement with the UAE, bilateral service agreement. We negotiated back and forth, and we succeeded in opening that route again to Nigeria. So Emirates is back. They started October 1 last year. But that is not all. That is not all. In bringing them back and signing a new BASA agreement, we ensured that we took care of our local airlines and the interests of our local airlines. So we negotiated a couple of things with them. We said, look, can you enter into code sharing agreements with some of our local airlines in order to develop these local airlines too? Because the truth of the matter is that sometimes when you bring some of these international airlines, yes, you are happy about that, but then you also bring them in direct competition with local airlines who do not also have, which do not have the capacity to compete with them on some of these routes. So the best way and the most clever thing to do is to ensure that they could share with them in order to also lift their capacity. So we're happy to report that today that in bringing them back, Emirates did not only come back, but they have also entered into a code sharing agreement with one of our local operators, Air Peace. Today, very soon, that code sharing agreement will take off. And so you may be able very soon to, for example, buy a ticket from Calabar to Dubai directly. And so Air Peace will lift you from Calabar, bring you to Lagos, and then you board the Emirates proper. You go to one ticket, just one ticket. You go to Dubai, and when you come back, they drop you in Lagos. Air Peace picks you again to Calabar, one ticket. That is code sharing agreement. So we have ensured that we entered in we brokered that deal on behalf of our local airlines, and more of such code sharing agreements will follow with many other local airlines with other international airlines. We are in the process of negotiating some of this on their behalf. It also aligns with one of our 5-point agenda, which I should have started with, but we have said that over and over again, that this is the first government that has taken it upon itself to put as one of its clear objectives the support and growth of our local airlines, whilst holding them, to the best international standards. In the whole of Africa, all the airlines in Africa are either sponsored, supported, or subsidized by the governments of those countries. Rwanda Air, South African Air, Egypt Air, Moroccan Air. Call them, name them, everyone. It is only in Nigeria that you have robust and 100% private participation. So it's a different ballgame. And our policies must be different. Our approach must be different. Don't compare Nigeria to other African countries. We are not like them. They don't have private participation at all. All their airlines are subsidized by governments, by their federal government. So it's important, therefore, for the Nigerian government to turn its own attention to these local operators who keep our skies and our aviation alive, our ecosystem alive. We have 13 active private local airlines in Nigeria that service our local, our domestic and regional routes, and some international routes too. And so it's our deliberate policy to make a lot of, policy, to support their growth and development. And we're going to come to some of these policies that have yielded a lot of fruits, with the active support of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has given enough attention to the aviation sector. I must say, the President has supported us in terms of infrastructural development and our policy formation, and we are going to come to those. So it is aligned with one of our 5-point agenda. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria has done very well with our terminals, and especially in this case, our Hajj terminals. Since we came into office, we have revitalized and refurbished a lot of our Hajj terminals throughout the country. And for our Muslim brothers and sisters, you will notice that last year, because of this, we opened up a lot of Hajj, routes, Hajj terminals again, where we, performed Hajj from last year, many of the terminals, and that as a result of the effort of our Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. So most of the Hajj terminals are back, and we are going to continue this year, also lifting our pilgrims from even more terminals we have refurbished and rehabilitated this year. Now, there is a hydra-headed monster that we met when we came, and we have decided to tackle it headlong. And that is the issue of using private, charter planes, which we call the private jets, using them for all kinds of illegal activities. They have been largely unmanned, unchecked, and they just operate the way they like. Beyond that, they also deny the federal government of revenue. Because what most of them do, and this has been happening for 40, 50 years, and when I came, they said, Minister, don't bother yourself with that. These are the big men who own Nigeria. You cannot tackle them, and just forget about them. This is a practice that, and we are losing. In fact, the committee we set up, the task was set, in the last 10 years, the federal government has lost approximately 120 billion naira in revenue to illegal charter operations. And how does that happen? If you bring in a private jet into the country, the first thing you do is to go to the NCAA and ask for a license. The license will indicate whether it is for private hopping, or you want to charter, you want to use as commercial to be carrying people, to be chartering it. And both licenses carry different amounts. I mean, hefty. The difference is very hefty. If it is what they call the PNCF, private charter, non-charter license, is PNCF, they give you a very small fee to pay because it is for your directors of your company, your family, and on and on. You want to just use it for your social events and business events. And so they give you a small fee to pay. But if you tell the NCA that, look, we want to use it for the charter, we want to use it as taxi every day, we park at the GAT there. So anybody come, I want to go to Calabar, you pay $10,000 back and forth, and on like that. They give you a different fee because you are using it for commercial. 80% of all the aircrafts brought into the country, these private jets, they go and obtain the PNCF, the private one. That is the license they all went to. But all of them are parked there every day for business. All of them. I'm just breaking it down for you to understand. They are parked there every day for business. And federal government is losing revenue. By parking them, not only that, many of them will now apply to fly out of the country unchecked. You don't even have the manifest, those inside the aircraft. You don't check properly what they put inside the aircraft, and they just fly in and fly out of the country. You don't know those who are in the aircraft. Sometimes you hear that there's a near accident with a private jet. We'll be struggling to find out who was inside, who was not inside. Totally unregulated. And so I said, well, I am built to fight this type of things by nature. I told them I will not let it go. I will not. And so I set up a task force on curbing illegal charter operations last year. They sat for more than 6 months. And we brought some of the best hands in the industry, headed by Captain Ado, who has been with Aero for forever, and a very experienced pilot, 7-member task force. And they just submitted their report last week with eye-boggling revelations. In fact, at a point, they even said we shut down the GAT, that private charter wing, for total reorganization in terms of security, in terms of the kind of machines we used to see the bags apart. Just total, we should shut it down for total, check. Not the commercial part, we cannot do that. But that's one of their suggestions. But we are still looking into it on how to quickly implement these recommendations without too much disrupting passenger movement. But then, they said far more than that in terms of the illegalities that go through there. And I will not shy away from saying it. If it is the big men that are involved, the president has given us a free hand to fight this menace. They cannot run to the president. The president will send them back because the president is determined to do what is right. And so in the next few weeks, they have submitted their reports. We are tackling this headlong. In the next few weeks, we are going to be making fast-sweeping reforms. We are going to roll out fast-sweeping, far-reaching measures to curb this based on the reports that has been submitted to us. And we are going to tackle it headlong. So anybody that runs to you and say, go and talk to the minister, don't call me, me and you will quarrel. If you are my friend, don't call me, because we are determined to tackle this. Now, when we came, we also met the African Aviation and Aerospace University at the cusp of takeoff. There was no admission yet, no takeoff. But let me happily report to you that the university has fully taken off. And one of the best in Africa, one of the first of such in Africa, where people can even come from outside the country to take courses here. A full-blown university on aviation and aerospace. And we are offered so many courses now. In fact, I'm still going to apply to the president very soon that he should allow me to be reading there now while I'm working. Because it's just there near the airport there. So I can become a professor and a doctor, doctorate degree while I'm, yes. And my directors will be the one to teach me. Let me see how they will fail me. Let me see how they will fail me. So we have offered it's a full-blown university. They have taken off, and we encourage, we encourage applicants to apply. In fact, we have too much applicants.
here at the headquarters of Africa's Global Bank in Lagos, Nigeria. It's International Women's Day. Yes, it was on the 8th, but technically it's International Women's Month. So please, a round of applause to all the women in the house. And if you're watching live on TV or streaming on our YouTube channel, that's at UBA Group. Great to have you here with us. I am Bemileke Oscar Onyiso. Now, for those who have been following the UBA Business Series, you know it's going to be impactful. There's a lot of knowledge being shared, but this month's own is a bit special. Yes, it's because of the women in the building. Now, whatever business you're doing, whatever life hack that you've come across, whatever profession that you might be into, as a woman, we all know that we follow the journey, and some might say that it's not really been fair. The theme for this year is about accelerating action, and the reason is very simple. To achieve equity, to achieve fairness, to achieve all the things that women deserve and more, according to the World Economic Forum, is going to take us into 2185 for that to happen. So if we want to beat that, we need to move faster. Now, just to break the ice a bit, and this is a very dad moment for me. I have an 11-year-old daughter. Her name is Ruby Onyiso, and she made this pink brooch on my wrist. So it's not like I have... yeah, she made it 2 months ago, and she said, "Daddy, at your next event, wear it." I've struggled to find where I can wear pink. But it works, right? All right, so just say, "Thank you very much, Ruby, for making it for Daddy." On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go. I'm like the best dad of the year right now. And the feeling you share is also the feeling a lot of people want to share, but unfortunately the circumstances might not be the same. Whether it's at the workplace or at the business, women face challenges every single day they get up. Today we're going to have some phenomenal women grace the stage, but in addition to that, you also get to be part of this journey. Now, if you're a business owner, a female, UBA has put aside her progress story, hashtag her progress story. There's a barcode that will be coming up during this session. Scan it, fill out all the details, and more importantly, if you know there's a woman out there that needs a $1,000 grant, there's a business grant courtesy UBA for this, please send this link to her right now. The hashtag for today is, of course, UBA Business Series and hashtag UBA Accelerating Progress. Feel free to hashtag your questions. We will be taking as well, and follow us on all our social media platforms.